The most extreme image of the rock star as glittery creature from another planet came not from America, but Britain.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Among a number of films that made a deep impression upon me in the 60s, I think one of the most important at the very end was 2001, Stanley Kubrick. It was the sense of isolation that I related to. That, in combination with a number of other elements, set the pattern for a lot of the kinds of music that I wrote and the kind of performances that I gave, and probably predicted my lifestyle for the 70s.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirts you wear.
I was talking with a friend of mine not so long ago who also came from suburbia. And you're given the impression that nothing culturally belongs to you, that you are sort of in this wasteland. And I think there's a passion for most people who have an iota of sort of curiosity about them to escape and get out and try and find who one is and find some kinds of roots, you know. And both of us got out for the same reasons. Exactly that, a desperation and exhaustion with the blandness of where we grew up.
David Jones became David Bowie and trained in theatre and mime before starting to do a series of mainly folk-based albums. Apart from the early success of Space Oddity in 1969, his record sold very poorly, until his wife Angie suggested a bold publicity move.
I knew I had a job in there somewhere, and it was a dirty job, but somebody had to do it, and I was the man for it. Or rather, I was the androgyne for it.
Oh, you pretty things, don't you know?
Bowie was the first rock star to proclaim publicly that he was bisexual or gay. He had already posed for the cover of one album, The Man Who Sold the World, in a dress. Although this album cover was changed by the record company for its US release to an image that was thought to be more acceptable to the American market.
Say it again, you gotta make way for the Homo superior.
On his first visit to New York, Bowie met Andy Warhol, and he was to draw considerable inspiration from a group of actors associated with the factory.
Well, somebody wait for me. Sugar sweet, so easy.
When I was doing Andy Warhol's Pork in New York, they said Pork was nothing but a bunch of naked freaks running around on stage doing perverted acts, you know. We were going, yeah, come see the show. Anyway, when Bowie and Angela came to see Pork and she started to meet all the cast of Pork, people were dyeing their hair purple and green. Lee was coloring his hair with magic markers. We wore our fingernail polish out in the clubs. We wore our fingernail polish on the street. We dressed, you know, just as crazy on the street as we did on stage. Angie began to push David in that direction. Without any of that, David would have just continued having long, floppy hair and singing folk songs.
Well, I'm up on the 11th floor and I'm watching the cruisers below.
It was not only the Warhol look that had begun to influence Bowie, it was the New York sound as well.
Velvet Underground became very important to me. There was this sort of mixture of rock and avant-garde. Cale's influence of avant-garde and Lou Reed's very fine pop tunesmithism. He was a very fine pop writer, and the combination was so brutal.